welcome to today's episode of Unfiltered. Today we have Dr. Washington Sanchez with us. Good morning.
Morning.
And we're going to be exploring through our conversation a bit more about chlorination, chlorinated water, which is supplied to our homes, and what the pros and cons of that are. We obviously know there's a lot of benefits with disinfection, but do you need to be concerned about it with using it, for instance, drinking, showering, and using it in your food? So through our conversation, we're going to be discussing things like the disinfection byproducts,
Correct.
trihalomethanes, things that we may not know about. There's not a lot of information there out there in the web, and we just want to clear up as much as possible just the true facts.
Yep.
Facts about it.
Indeed.
Perfect.
So
I guess maybe Washington, we could start off about what is chlorine, how does it work?
chlorine is a gas, and if you actually Google in YouTube chlorine gas, you'll see some magnificent failures of tanks exploding. It's a yellow-green gas, extremely corrosive, extremely oxidizing agent, and it's heavy in air, so once it explodes, it goes up and then it spreads sideways. And there's some magnificent footage of catastrophes of tanks failing, exploding in ships and in water treatment plants once it goes through it. And if you get caught on that, most likely you get severely burnt, damage to your internal tissue, soft tissue in the lungs and esophagus and mouth and eyes, and you die in some cases, in
yes.
many cases, when they get caught right next to it. Now, last time I was here, I addressed fluorine, which was the most electronegative element, period 2, group 7B, which is the old way, which is group 17. Let me see. Yes, group 17. That's a new way of saying it. I'm old school. 7B is the old way that we used to do it. Again, very electronegative. It's the second most electronegative element. And again, it's always looking to be stable, and so it likes to pinch electrons from its neighbors. Anything that comes in contact.
Yep.
That's why it's so highly oxidizing. Great at disinfecting, and that's what they use in water. They pump gas into a liquid stream.
Yep.
That gets broken down into 2 chlorine minus because it starts ripping off electron from water, etc. And when it comes in contact with an organic matter, it will oxidize it vigorously.
Yeah,
It
very
breaks it
fast.
up very, very fast and very effective. Problem with that is that it will create some byproducts.
Yes.
And those are the disinfection byproducts, the DVPs. Now there's a myriad of disinfection byproducts, and but before we go into the nasties, let's talk about the advantages of chlorine as a disinfection process. It takes care of Chiaria, crypto, any protozoa-like organisms, any other bacteria that may be like E. coli, Salmonella, Pseudomonas, any other bacteria which come under the total bacteria count.
Yep.
They all get taken care of. They all get dispatched into the bacteria heaven.
Yeah.
So, which is a good thing because remember, we are drawing our water from lakes and rivers, etc.
Yeah.
Right, even from groundwater. Animals do their business. Fish in the water. They do the business. They die. They decay. Same with birds. They die. They decay. And you have organic matter from trees, storms, etc. Everything decaying there. So there's a lot of decaying material in the water. Even though the water looks clean and you can swim in it, but there's still bacteria in there. And if you ever had an incident where you cut yourself in a lake or something, you know that if you don't take care of it, it gets infected.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, we all been there, over the years, one stage or another, we had our little infection because of being in a body of water that has been contaminated. So that then needs to go through a process where you need to remove the sediments from the water. You need to try and remove some of the metals that are floating around. You oxidize them and you drop them off. Some others you chelate them. You use flocculants to remove some of the suspended solids. So there's bacteria still around there, and you need to get rid of that as well.
Yeah.
A case that I kind of remember now is that a few years back, I remember it was 4 or 5 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, pushing my brains now. There was a failure in New South Wales, and there was either Giardia or Crypto that got through, and there were some people that got sick. I can't remember whether it was fatalities or not, but it was a total catastrophe in the sense that the disinfection process failed catastrophically.
Yeah.
Because there were people, in harm's way because of contaminated water. And it was not just an isolated case, there were several people. And at one stage they had to stop. They asked people not to drink or consume the water and use bottled water because of the contamination.
Yeah.
As a typical failure on the process of disinfection. So it is very, very good, effective disinfectant.
And also chlorine,
Yeah.
it's good at it stays in the water stream
for quite a period of time, yeah.
Which is excellent for our city networks, isn't it?
Exactly, but the further away you live from the treatment plant, there is a sort of like a decay curve on the amount of available free chlorine to do the disinfection. It reaches a certain distance where there's no chlorine left, and then from there on you're basically exposed to bacteria in the system, which I have actually experienced in areas not far from here. Brisbane is the treatment plant. By the time it gets to the almost close to the Lockie Valley and some places, there is no chlorine left in the water, and you find bacteria in the water.
Yes.
Then there is the issue that chlorine then can cause corrosion to the pipework.
Of course.
Right, because it's an oxidation agent.
Yes.
So, and where there is oxidation taking place, there is also bacteria growing underneath within the rust that protects the bacteria from the chlorine.
Of course,
right?
Yeah.
So there is a cascade of issues with it, but very effective disinfectant, very good in treating the issue of harmful bacteria and harmful protozoa-like organisms. Having said all that, there are byproducts that come as a result of the interaction of the chlorine
Yes.
and the organic components.
Yes.
Now, as I said, I mentioned that there's lots of organics coming into the water, coming down the stream from rivers and lakes, and even from rain. There's always matter, fish, everything else.
Of
Right?
course.
All those organics that come through are going to be broken down, and that forms some byproducts.
Yes.
And those byproducts then are interesting because they are mainly organic byproducts. So at the core center there is a carbon atom, and they call trihalomethane.
Yes.
That means that there are 3 or 4 halogens, 3 halogens in the carbon atom and 1 single hydrogen. So that's very important, because then that hydrocarbon, it's like a hydrocarbon, but it's a halogenated hydrocarbon,
Yes.
because it still has a hydrogen in it. It's a trihalogenated carbon. That carbon moiety, as we call it in chemistry, species, prefers to be on a lipophilic environment, meaning it loves a greasy or oily environment.
Yeah.
Okay?
So what would be, I'll just interrupt, what would be the chances, or has all drinking water, would it have some levels of these disinfection byproducts?
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
trihalomethanes?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Or if you use chlorine as a disinfectant,
Yeah. It's going to be
even
that.
in the swimming pools, it happens.
Yes.
We sweat, we do other business, in the pool, it happens, right? So those organic compounds that is in the water with the chlorine will create those.
Yes, I see.
Right. So so those some of those these elements, like I say, they love an environment where they most like dissolves like. So if you have an organic compound, it wants to be in an organic environment.
Yes.
If you have a mineral or an aqueous compound, it wants to be in a water-based or an aqueous environment.
Yeah.
Like dissolves like. This is the thing that I was drummed into my head in my first year of chemistry.
Yes.
Like dissolves like.
Yes.
So if you want to remove something that is organic, you use an organic solvent. If you want to remove something that is water-based, you use water.
Yes. Okay.
So simple. It's a very simple mathematics, as I say. One equation and the other. One equals the other.
Yeah.
So these organic compounds then, once you come in contact with the skin, they will find that the skin is almost like a brick wall. So you have flattened corneocytes surrounded by cholesterol and lipids, lipid bilayer that binds it together like the mortar.
So this is your skin?
That's skin, yeah, that's the skin. I've studied this as part of my PhD, and I was looking at scar tissue remediation using some polymers, and then I did some research in transdermal drug delivery. So that's where I learned that, there is a process by which species migrate through the skin into the bloodstream.
Yes.
That environment allows this thing to get through into the bloodstream, right?
Okay, so what are the three areas? From my basic knowledge, I know that there's a few different ways they get into our bodies.
Absolutely.
Can you just explain that a little bit?
One is absorption through the skin, as I mentioned, whether you're swimming or you're having a shower. The other one is inhalation. You're having a shower, and when the water hits your body, it creates micro droplets, and those droplets you're inhaling them. You gotta breathe while you're having a shower, right? Otherwise you pass out. So that's the only the only premise, right? So as you breathe in, you're inhaling, right? So you're inhaling everything that's in the water. Could be this THMs. It could be bacteria, minerals, water, etc. All goes in, and that was it. But you're only having a shower for 2-3 minutes, 4 minutes at most, and so it's a small amount that you're inhaling. And the last one, which is probably the most, the greatest one, is ingestion. You are drinking water, you are cooking with it, you are eating it in your meals, and so remember, these THMs do not get broken down by cooking, right?
Well, what I was when I was doing some research on it,
Yeah.
I found that actually when the water is heated, say in a shower,
Yeah.
the release of things like trihalomethanes actually increases. That right?
Yep.
So they
volatile.
They
become volatile. So you tend to breathe it in perhaps more. But the thing is, when you're cooking it, remember when you're cooking, you also have an oily environment. If you do Mediterranean food like I do, so you have your sauces and all that, and they tend to bind a lot of this organic.
Yeah.
Right, and so you have other byproducts as well, from the cooking, etc. But let's not get into that because that's a much wider topic. But the thing is that the biggest process is ingestion. Right here, you have if it was, I believe this is RO water.
That's RO.
Mineralized. So this is free of THMs. But if I will take a glass of water from the tap in the suburbs, there's no filter or process in any way other than, just opening the tap, then they will have some of those in there.
Yes.
And you're drinking it.
So for instance, we all know what it's like.
Yeah.
In the shower, if you're having a hot shower, sometimes the chlorine smell comes through quite strong.
Yes.
Is that? Can we be like? Is that the release of trihalomethanes or?
No, that's just the straight out chlorine.
That's just the
smell.
smell.
Yeah, the smell of chlorine there. And you feel it in your skin, that it dries you. You feel like a dry skin. You feel it in your hair. It feels like a wire brush in your head. You know, and if the chlorine is really strong, you get itchy eyes, and you may get a little bit uncomfortable in your breathing, in the back of the throat and things like that. That's the chlorine doing what chlorine does.
Yeah.
It's an oxidizing agent, and it's reacting with the oils on your skin, your hair, and the soft membranes of your tissue, like the eyes, the nose, and the throat.
Yeah.
So that's the experience, and yes, what it's telling you is that water is free from bacteria and viruses and anything else that's in there.
Yeah. Which are the ones that make you sick?
Yeah, that's right. They're the ones that make you sick. So that's the benefit of chlorine, but the con of chlorine is that it makes you uncomfortable if it's in high concentration, because it dry. You feel like your skin is dry. Your hair feels like a wire brush.
Yes.
Indomitable. It feels dry. It's uncomfortable, and so there is a remediation for that. I mean, you could actually control that before it gets into the house, and perhaps that's what we may be discussing in a moment.
Yeah.
How to get rid of it.
Exactly. Well, that's. I think chlorine, it made such a change in the world.
Yeah.
The outbreak of of disease was so controlled.
Absolutely.
But you do think you look at your water and it's clear, but when you start to research it and you find there's actually is all these other things that you should be concerned about, and one thing that really does alarm you. And we're not. This is not a. We just want to bring out the truth about it. But when you find out that some of these disinfection byproducts, they're actually considered carcinogens at certain levels.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that? Like, should we even the small amount that we're showering, swimming, and drinking, would that even have any effect on us?
Yeah. Look, yes, they are carcinogenic. Right, especially once it enters about. Just about a lot of things that we interact in this world may be carcinogenic. A lot of them more than others, and it always comes down to two things: how much we ingested and how predisposed are you to react to the carcinogen.
Yes.
In other words, if you have a weak immune system, for whatever reason, that can cause problems. For example, biogenic amides tend to compromise your immune system. Biogenic amides are byproducts of bacteria. Now, when you kill the bacteria, right, the bacteria ruptures and it releases these biogenic amides. Right? It's a byproduct of bacteria. That's a waste of the bacteria.
Yeah.
But when you kill it, it is released. The chlorine does not break down the biogenic amides.
Yes.
Right? And so that, when you ingest it, and if you drink water, rainwater, bore water that is not treated with chlorine, you also ingesting some bacteria, and it's producing biogenic amides, and it weakens your immune system. Some people react to biogenic amides, like in the case of seafoods, shellfish.
Yeah.
Histamine is a biogenic amide, right? So that in itself, is telling you I'm reacting to it. I don't like it. Your immune system gets weakened.
Yeah.
You now ingest something that can become a free radical inside your body, like THMs, trichloro, tribromo, and a combination of all this inside our body becomes a free radical inside the body. It will affect a weak spot where our immune system prevents the production of a very simple anti-free radical, which is hydrogen peroxide. Our cells produce that inside it.
Yep.
And if there is a reduction of it, that can actually cause the first trigger as a carcinogen, as a cancer, because they disrupts the DNA within the cell. One cell that gets damaged then divides and creates 2 cells that are damaged, and 3, 4 cells, and so on. And so it's a proliferating effect that can be rapid or slow, depending on our immune system. Our immune system will see a cell that is damaged, and then it goes in and goes, oh, target that one. T cells go in, target, and kill, and white cells come in and kill that cell that is damaged and gets rid of it. But if our immune system is depleted or compromised, then that effect can counter that. So the free radicals then can cause. So it doesn't really matter whether it's a lot of free radicals or a little free radical. It's also dependent on us.
Yes.
How are we treating ourselves? Are we eating the right things? Are we, making sure, kind of like my previous episode I mentioned, we gotta watch what we eat.
Yeah.
That's step number 1 to protect us against certain things. What we drink, what we eat, it's very important.
Exactly.
And it goes boiled down to this as well. So if we then lower the amount of potential carcinogenic products or byproducts that we ingest, the better it is for us.
Yes.
Simple as that. It's a process of elimination. We do need certain things to boost our immune system. Yes. They always say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I kind of question that saying, in some cases it actually makes you a lot weaker and then it will kill you. So my issue is that, there is a process and I can't say, blanket, yes, they are carcinogenic and it's going to kill everybody. No, I'm not saying that. But if you are either predisposed because of genetics or because of suppressed immune system, it could be a couple of other factors, a combination of you taking some sort of a medicine or something's happening, stress, so on and so forth. That then, you add into the load of things that are attacking you from within. Not from without, but from within, because you already ingested it. So the attack is internal, not external. I always stress, you are what you eat. And you are what you drink. Right? It's very important, how we do it, how we eat.
Okay, well, I think that takes me to the point that I really wanted to discuss about if we wanted to take out chlorine out of our water, and if you look on the internet, you get bombarded with carbon filters, charcoal filters, and a lot of it is saying, it takes out it improves the taste. It takes out the chlorine. Yeah. And we know that chlorine's beneficial. Okay, so chlorine's beneficial to kill all the things that really hurt you, make you sick outwardly. But how effective is a simple carbon filter? Say if you had a simple filter system on your house.
2-stage filter.
How effective is it in actually taking out not only the smell, but these THMs and these byproducts?
Yeah. Remember, as I mentioned earlier on, like attracts like.
Yeah.
You have a carbon core on this, and you have charcoal and coal, which is an organic environment.
Yes.
Preferentially wants to trap these things. Carbon is effectively very, very, very effective in removing chlorine, but it's also very effective in removing organic moieties or organic species.
Yes.
Anything with a carbon backbone will be removed by the activated charcoal and carbon block.
I see, because it's like they like substances.
Like substances.
Interesting.
Right, so you have a core. It's sort of like you think of a exaggerated example. You grab a sponge, right, and it's got tiny little holes everywhere.
Yes.
That's your carbon. That's your carbon particle, right?
Yes.
It's got tiny little holes everywhere, channels everywhere.
Yes.
Water goes through there, and all these other species there, and they come in contact with the surface. It's called chemisorption. And so it finds a spot, and it gets attracted to it.
Yes.
And it locks on and gets anchored onto it.
Yes.
That's chemisorption. It's a chemical absorption. It's not a covalent bond and it's not an ionic bond. There is a big difference. So it's an attraction, a physical attraction.
Yes.
It's a different kind of attraction from ionic, where there is an exchange of
yes.
electrons, or where they share the electrons covalently, right? Now, I'm talking a lot of science here, but all three of those attractive forces are very strong. And the trapping of these organic particles
Yes.
is very effective with carbon filters.
Okay, so what about these disinfection byproducts?
They get attracted there as well.
So they'll stay in there.
Yeah, because they have carbon core.
Yes.
Right?
Okay,
it's
well
a
that's
carbon
good.
core, right? And it could be more than just the THMs. There could be other products that are organic there.
Yes.
Right? That are byproducts as well. Some of those biogenic hamites, PFOAs, PFOs.
Yes.
Right? Which are endemic now everywhere.
Yes.
The only thing the filters won't do is the microplastics. Some macroplastics will be collected in the sediment filters, but the carbon primarily will be concerned in removing chlorine and organic matter.
Yes.
Organic, not matter, but organic species.
Yes.
Right?
Good. Okay.
Whether they're halogenated or not, inconsequential, they will still be chemisorbed onto the surface.
Good. And I think we'll, in another episode of Unfiltered, we'll cover how activated carbon is made.
Yep.
It's very interesting.
It's fantastic,
But that's what I really wanted to find out. So if I just had a basic system.
Basic system,
I know
yeah.
we were speaking earlier about a 5-stage system and a 4-stage.
Yeah.
But to get,
entry level,
but to get a really,
Yeah.
it's so essential, isn't it?
Absolutely. First of all, you want to remove suspended solids from the water, regardless whether it's town's water or whatever. You always find there is a lot of suspended solids in there.
Yes.
Right.
So
the sediment filter will remove a lot of, probably 95% of your suspended solids. Water gets through anything that is soluble in water that is organic, and chlorine will be removed by the carbon.
Yes.
The next stage. So that 2-stage will do.
Yes.
Right?
So 2-stage will get me
will get
quite
you
a
started,
big,
quite a lot of
a lot of benefit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and a 2-stage system would last somewhere between 6 and 8 months.
Yes.
Protection.
Excellent.
Right, because it's working a little bit extra harder by not having subsequent stages, but
Yes.
at least for 6 to 8 months you're going to be protected from that.
Yes.
And you'll see it once you and if you Google out there, filters from town water and they change and you see it come out, they're going white, snow white, and it comes out brown. It's really bad. And so because it comes out in such a that tells you that town water carries a lot of stuff that is suspended in the water.
Yeah.
You don't see it with the naked eye, but it's there.
That's very good. That's exactly what we're trying to answer.
Yeah.
Is that the chlorine is excellent.
Yeah.
It disinfects the pipes. Some of our cities are massive.
Yeah.
But when it gets to your home, but with a simple device,
Yeah.
you can improve your water.
The water quality
80%
improves. Yeah, absolutely.
just
80.
through basic filtration.
Basic
and then
filtration. Yeah. Having a simple entry-level 2-stage, then you remove that chlorine and you remove that suspended solids and all these other things that may be in the water. You remove 80-90% of it, and then you trap all the chlorine and a lot of the organic compounds. Then your water has gone from let's say that you thought it was good, now to this water is excellent.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll see it. You actually feel it. You taste it. There is a difference in the quality of the water.
Well, no, thank you so much for the insights into that. Appreciate it. You look at a glass of water and it's clear.
Yeah.
But when you start researching and testing it,
Yeah.
you start to find out that there's things you should be doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're concerned about it, do something about it.
You see the water, what we see with our eyes and what's in it at an atomic level or a molecular level are two different things. I know for sure that PFOAs, PFOS materials, they do get trapped in carbon.
Yes.
And so that's been proven through and through. And so, I can say categorically, you're protected with us if you worry about those things.
Exactly.
Chlorine, organic compounds, PFOS, PFOS, etc. They've been on the news long enough.
Yeah, we know about them.
And they are everywhere. They're in rainwater, they're in lakes, they're in rivers. We are completely covered. They're everywhere.
Yeah, we're exposed to it.
Yeah, we're exposed to it, and because they are bioaccumulative. They PFOAs and PFOS go into fatty tissue.
And they stay there.
Same with some of these THMs.
Yeah.
And they stay for a while, and some of them break up and create free radicals, and cause cancer. And PFOS and PFOAs, they've been linked to that. At least you can do some preventive action by a simple process of entry level, right? To protect your home.
That's good.
If you like later on, you can add on to those more stages.
Yes.
So everything, it's modular nowadays.
Exactly.
So you can add one now and then add 2 more or 3 more, whatever,
Later down.
So, the sky's the limit, as they
Exactly.
say. But it's at least to give you some preventive action. An entry level will give you a good reduction in those products.
Excellent.
All right.
No, well, thank you, and thanks for watching this episode of Unfiltered. I hope it's been informative and helping you on your journey to find out what's in your water and how you can make your water better and protect yourself. And we'll see you on the next one.